Sorry, something happened. The network got disconnected. So yeah, so that's the reason we got stopped. Okay, so here, so that's the importance of adding. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So there are like different modes when you're running this. This is normal mode, analog, and low level. So these are the like recording modes. Okay, how you're trying to record. Okay, and normal is normal, which for example, if you're using left mouse click buttons and all those things, that comes under normal recording. It's like left mouse buttons, right? So these are called normal. You take this as normal. Analog recordings is something like if you're using special buttons in the keyboard like tab, space and all those things, that comes in the analog recording. And there is low level recording. Okay, low level recording is like if you're like have some like right clicks, for example, right click of mouse button. Let's say if I click right click here, the options displayed here are different, right? And if I click right click here, the options are different. So in that case, if there is any other additional options or additional features that you want to test it using this right click, then you want to use a low level recording. Okay, and then you have run modes, modes, normal and fast. Okay. Go to the next one. Okay, so let's see here. This one we'll discuss in detail about this. Oops. Okay, so okay, so this is the interface of QTP. I mean, this is. I mean, if you're using any new version of UFT, you'll not be having this interface. But the only thing is to make you understand what the features, what are the features, and what are the options will be available. Because the option will be same. Okay, these are options. Whatever will be there will be same. But only the way is you need to look it out. It will be some other place. It was here. It might be in the new tool. It might be somewhere else. Okay, so those options keeps changing. But other than that, options remain same. Or you might have additional features, additional options. Okay, the interface even doesn't look like this. Interface is completely different. So it just for ease of understanding. Okay, it will be a little bit different when you use new version of UFT. Okay, so here, this is, let's see here. So this is the title bar. Okay, this is the title bar where you have information what you're trying to do. You're doing recording or playback. It shows up here. This is called title bar, and this is the menu bar. Okay, this menu bar is like it contains all the information like file, edit, view. Right? In any application that's called menu bar. If you don't find anything which is in the shortcuts, you want to go navigate through menu bar and find out, what's there about it. So it might be in the menu bar. Okay, whatever options you're looking for. Let's say you're option looking for recording, or you're looking for some add-in button, or you're looking for some library files. Whatever it is, all will be there in the menu bar. Okay, so that will help you out because most of things will be there in the menu bar. This is file toolbar. Okay, contains all the information about the file. Okay, and this is the debug toolbar. If you're debugging the script, okay, if you are using the script and you are enhancing the features and you're trying to debug it, so this called this all the options will be there in the debug toolbar. And then this is testing toolbar. So whatever for recording and playback, all these things will be there in the testing toolbar. So these are actually the shortcuts. Okay, but it's not necessary all this will be here. Now all these things will be also there in the menu bar. If you go look into if you go and look into and see that all what I'm saying here, will be there. All these things, right, will be there in the menu bar. Okay, because these are shortcuts for ease of, if you want to do pretty quick, so you want to use the shortcuts. Okay, so that's the use of this, and this is called action toolbar. So there are actions. Okay, so we'll talk about this action, but for ease of understanding, what is an action? So action is, in layman's language, it's a worksheet. Let's say you're trying to code something, you're trying to write a script somewhere, right? Now that's called action. Okay, I mean technically it's different, but for ease of understanding, we'll take it as a worksheet. Okay, technically it goes much beyond that. You can create library files with that, all those things. But for ease of understanding, action is like worksheet. Wherever you want to write the code, you want to save it, so that's called action. Okay, so we'll go through that in detail. And then this is called test paying. Okay, so this is test paying. This is actually a keyword view. Okay, you have two views. One is keyword view, okay, and the other is expert view. In expert view, you'll be having all code, like we have seen, right? The code before that in Eclipse. So that's kind of expert view for QDB. Okay, this is the keyword view. Now it contains the item instance, what is the object here, okay, and it contains operation. That means what operation are you performing for that particular object? Are you clicking it? Are you, if it's a drop down box, or is it a, select button, whatever it is. So you're performing some kind of operation, right? That's called operation. And a value for that operation. Okay, so what's the value for that operation? You're showing up here. And documentation, that means what it does after you click that button. Okay, so that's documentation. And then you have this data table. So data table is like Excel. It's not really Excel, but it's an Excel for QDB. It's inbuilt, not just Excel. It's inbuilt for QDB. Okay, so so whatever parameterization. Why do we want this? So let's say you want to do parameterization, right? Remember when you're tracking. Let's say you want to run the 100. Same script. Okay, similar script. You want to record it once. You're not going to record 10, 100 times. You are recording only once. But you're running it 100 times. Why? For the different data. You want to also make sure different data or different drop-down box or something like that. So in that case, you want to specify all this information here. With all the 100 data, let's say 100 data, you want to put it here. Okay, that's the reason you need this data table. And then this is active screen. Okay, so here, whenever you're running it, this, screenshot, it's kind of screenshot, it shows up for you here. This is some information on this PDB. Any questions so far? So let's go one by one. So this is new. Okay, if you want to open a new worksheet, you can open this new. And if you want to open an existing worksheet, then you can use this one. And if you want to save it, this floppy icon, you can save it. And if you want to print it, this is a print option. Okay, and then you have this quality center, quality center connection. So this, what's the use of this, right? So let's say, so there are a lot of people is working, right? You're not alone, right? You're not alone. There's a now let's say you're a QTP tester, or you're automation tester, or whatever, and if you're a tester, they also will be a developer. So there will be an automation developer, or who is developing this, the script, whatever the script is generating, whoever is writing the script, they're working, right? So if it's in big companies, okay, if it is in big companies, then what happens, right? They might have their own separate BA, separate developer, separate architect for whole automation thing, right? that could be very big. That might be very big, and it's only for big companies who can afford that. Um, because they might have the whole BA requirement for automation, whole developing, whole automation architect, a lot of things. So what happens, right? Once the automation developer develops a script, he or she has to put somewhere, right? Now they'll put in quality center. Let's say they'll put in quality center or HPLM. And once you give this, click on this, you can pull out that script wherever it's stored. You can pull out and put it here. So that's the reason you need this. Okay. Otherwise, there's a many ways to do it. It's not really you have to. It's not like you have to use it. It's you can put in network drive, just copy the script and paste it here. You also can do that. No big deal. It's not necessary that you have to use this. It's like for your convenience. Okay, so that's because um, HP bought this, right? HP also bought QTP, so that's the reason they have their own. So they wanted to use their own tool, so that's why they have quality center connection. Okay, so let's go to the next one. So this is object repository. Okay, so this is called object repository. So repository, right? Repository is to store. Okay, to store. It's kind of database, right? You want to store some, but the difference is it stores objects. Okay, so before going that, let's talk about this. So, let's say QTP only recognizes QTP, or UFT only recognizes based on the objects. Okay, based on object. Okay, anything. So let me ask you this: can anyone say what is an object? So in software, not anywhere in software, can anyone say what is an object? Let's take an example: this web application. So can anyone tell what is an object here?
It's like Green Mountain Outpost. That picture is one object.
Okay, so that's good. That's one of the examples. So you're saying an example. Okay, so that's good. So this is an object. Now this is an object. This is an object. Everything is an object. Okay, the point is an object is something which contains property and its values. That's called an object. Okay. An object is something which contains property and its value. Let's take an example here, right? If I'm clicking this button, okay, if I'm clicking this is an object. Okay, this is an object. That's a different story. It's a child object. The parent object is always the browser, because whatever you're trying to do is in browser, right? So that will be a parent object, and whatever it comes down is child object, and then child object. So it's like child objects. Okay, so let's take an example. I'm clicking this button, enter geomon, and I click this button. Okay, now if QTP has to click that button, okay, it has to recognize that it's an object, right? Okay, this is an object. So what is the property here? So it has height and length. See this height and length. Now length maybe 2 centimeter. It's a mirror height, half centimeter. Okay, but if you see here, all the three buttons are of the same size. If you are giving that information, then it could be get confused with three buttons with the same properties, right? Same properties and values. Okay, so again, you cannot recognize that object because all the three buttons. So QTP cannot click three buttons at once, right? You have to click only one button. I want to click this one button. Now, the important thing is here to identify unique property and value. So you could, QTP only identifies unique property and values. Here, the unique property is title. So the title of this button is enter geomon, and you see this title, but no other title on this button is that name. See this? So that's how, if you put the title, now it knows it's have to click it. You write the code, dot click, it clicks. Okay. So that's the, that's how QTP recognizes. QTP always recognizes based on the objects and objects which are actually the properties and values of that object. Okay, so that's all is stored when you're doing record and playback. That's stored in this object repository. Okay, everything this. So that's the reason you don't have to write any code. Once you throw all these objects here, it runs for itself. That's good. But it's only good for static applications, right? Not dynamic application. Dynamic applications are something which changes frequently, pretty frequently changes. Sometimes this button was here, sometimes it's somewhere else. Property of buttons completely changes. Okay, so in that case, you cannot use record and playback. You have to use descriptive programming. Okay, so yeah, so that's the point. So all the objects and properties, all the objects are stored here in this. So that's called object repository. Okay, and the next you have this, the man with the hat guy. So this is object spy. Okay, this guy is called object spy, and what it does. So you want to know what is the property and values, right? Now I cannot know what's the property and values of this button, right? I want to know it. So when you click this and click it, it shows the property and values. But let's take an example here. Since we don't have the QTP, I'll quickly pretty much show you how. So this is really not a good way to find out. You need to always. Let's see what we are talking about, right? So here. Okay, good. Now you see this input type. Now that's called property and value. What is the value button? Okay, the name is a property and value is be submit. So actually the value, this is title, that is enter geom1, title is enter geom1 language. Okay, JavaScript, that's fine. So that's how you try to see this. Okay, this is really not a good way to find out. This is the developer work. We don't do it. We want to see through testing point of view. So that's why you want to use this object spy. This guy. So that shows all the information such as what is the property, what's the value, and what's the height, what's the length. If the 3D button, then it's a breadth, and so on. Okay, title, HTML tag. Okay, a lot of things. Okay, so you need to identify the unique property which doesn't have in any other buttons, and then you need to choose. Okay, so that's the use of object spy. It tries to show you all the properties and all the values of that particular object. Okay, now these are debug options. If you're running the script and you want to stop in between, these are disabled right now, but when you're running it, it will be enabled. Okay, so and then let's go to the testing toolbar. This is record. If you want to start your recording, you record it, and once you recorded it, you run it. Okay, once you run the script and see this run, and now this is action. As I told you, this is action, and this is split action. You can split an action. Okay, so that's a split action, and there's two things, right? This is start transaction time and end transaction time. Okay. Okay, so what we do with this is, let's say you want to know the granularity of an application. Okay, you are testing everything, that's fine, but you want to know particular, let's say you're navigating 2 pages. Okay, let's say you're clicking on this button. Okay, you want to see how much time it has taken to navigate from that page to this page. You want to see how much the customer is trying to put some information here and click on this. So you want to see this 3 pages, right? You want to know the start transaction time and end, the time it has taken to move from one page to another page, because it's taking some time. So it also, say like, okay, this is taking some time. Okay, so that's called, and you want to end. So this is called start. Once you want to start it, start transaction time, and this end transaction time. Why do we use this? We use to identify the granularity of an application to to find out what is the granularity. Okay, so that's what we use this. And then this is to analog recording and low level recording. Okay, and okay, so these are the important things, and so as I told you, right, this is an item. This is actually the objects, and what operation are you trying to perform with that object? Okay, and what is the value are you giving for this, and what's the documentation? Okay, so but really this is a keyboard view. But if you are trying to go through export view, this is how it looks like. See here. So this is a clip, so don't worry about it. QTP will be, it's similar. Since it's an open source, so I'm using the clips, but let's see here. Okay, this is how export view will be looking like. Okay, this will be all will be in the code. Okay, you'll be looking into this code and just you'll be running this, just like I did. Okay, just run this and okay. So that's export view. Any questions so far? So I'll be giving you a different video too. This time I unfortunately I updated my person and it gets updated. So that driver got because this thing keeps getting updated. Selenium script. I need to record that everything whole new. So that's why they didn't run properly. So yeah. So I'll be giving a different recording too. You can check it. Checking that. Okay. So let's go to the next one. So object repository, we already talked about this. So this is, you see this, this is a parent, parent object. So whatever you're using, this browser, whatever is there, right? That's a parent object, because whatever the child objects will be after parent object, right? You cannot get all these options before putting the URL in the browser, right? So that's why that's called parent, and these are the child objects. So that's why it is, denoted like this. This is a web browser which is parent, and then child object is welcome memory Mercury, and then for that child is these buttons and field values. Okay, these are field values actually. Sign in is button. Okay, so all this is stored in object repository. Okay, so that's what is showing up here. So all these are stored, and this is good if you're if you're using a static web application. This is good. You can use this. This object spy, this is how object spy looks like. When you click this hand icon to particular object, it shows all the properties and values here. Okay, all the properties. Please see if this is a property, and it shows here, right? So this here it's not, we don't have it here, but otherwise all this property and values will be showing up here. And once you click this button, once you click on this and click on some button or some object in the web application, all this will be showing up here in these properties and values. Okay. Okay. So let's go to the next one. Okay. So how do it test recognizes an object? Now it has three. One is mandatory, some mandatory properties. The other is SS2 properties, and other is ordinal identifier. Okay, but to identify an object for a QTP, it only requires a uniquely. It requires a unique property, unique value of a property. It has to be unique. As I told you, right? So for this button, the title is only the unique. A length, height, HTML tag, all will be the same for all three buttons. But the only title, that is, what's the title? Enter geomonline. So that's the title of this button is unique, because there is no other button called Enter geomonline, right? there's another button, then there will be a problem because again QTP don't understand what. Okay, so that's what it requires only few properties that are uniquely identify an object that will QTP will be able to do that. Okay, then let's go to the next topic, the synchronization. So what is the synchronization? Okay, so let's say you're running the test. Okay, you've recorded it. Okay, you recorded the whole application. You're trying to run it, run the script. Okay, and once you run it, let's say it becomes slow. We know there's some server issue. Okay, let's say there's a server issue or something. Let's say the server is taking more time. You've seen, right? Sometimes it takes more time. It was suddenly here, but sometimes it takes more time. It's like this. It's taking more time, right? Now, what happens, right? Now QTP don't know. QTP waits only for microseconds or 1 second at the max. If this goes beyond 1 or 2 seconds, QTP doesn't know that. Okay, if it takes longer time, it thinks that script is not good and it fails the script. Okay, but really that's not the case. Okay, it might be some server issue or because of too much traffic. The application is slow. So you want to tell QTP that to wait. Okay, you need to say wait. So you want to write the code. In the code you want to wait in bracket 10. That means wait for 10 seconds. Wait for 5 seconds. Okay, so that's the use of the synchronization. Okay, so let's see here. So you see this wait. That's what you're telling QTP to wait. This has to be done manually. There is no option here. So you want to enhance your script by just writing this code, simple code called wait. Okay. So that's how you synchronize. That means even if it's slow, the application is slow, you're telling QTP to wait. Okay. Once it goes, so it doesn't fail the test case. Okay, it waits and moves to the next page. Okay. Let's go to the next topic. Checkpoints. So checkpoints is actually manually looking into this. Let's see here. Checkpoint, we were actually looking into this. So what is a checkpoint? Close this one. So you see here. So if you see here this purple color, right? If you see this purple color, you can see this. So that is actually that is a checkpoint. So that means this is manually. That means you need to look at it. Okay. And see, you see that purple color. That's called checkpoint. So that means somebody put the checkpoint on that field. Okay. So that's what you're doing, checkpoint. Okay. So so here we have various types of checkpoints. Okay, there's a standard checkpoint that if you don't know anything, you can put a particular button or particular field values or particular image or whatever it is. Okay, but then it's called standard checkpoint. Then there is the image checkpoint if you want to do for the image. Okay, let's see. Let's say this image, right? So this image, if you want to put it that, so that's called image checkpoint. The table checkpoint. Okay, so there's a table here, right? Okay. You don't see the table, but let me show you in the code. So we'll be having a better idea. So then you see this table. Okay, this is a table. So if you want to put checkpoint to this, now this is called table checkpoint. So you're not seeing here because it's invisible for as front-end user. Now user don't know, right? There's a table here, nobody knows. So this is table. Okay, this is the table. And to do to checkpoint that is called table checkpoint. Okay, and there is something called page checkpoint. And if you are putting the whole page, okay, that's called page checkpoint. So your text checkpoint, if you want to put for text, this text checkpoint. And if you want to go to text area checkpoint, so let's say if you want to verify this text area, so that's called text area checkpoint. Then your bitmap checkpoint is similar to image checkpoint. Okay. and then you have database checkpoint. If you're working with ETL tools or ETL data, then you want to put a database checkpoint. So these are various checkpoints, and these are only for manual view. That means once you put the checkpoint, are you able to view that? So that's it. I mean, it's nothing to do with anything else, because it's just to manual view for yourself, that you are able to see that field. Well, because the field is not invisible, or there's no bug in that. So that's what checkpoint is. You're checking it. That's it. And this is manual. Okay. Now let's go to the next one. Okay, parameterization. Let's talk about this parameterization. So as I told you, right, parameterization, this is something, right, you want to record once and play many. Okay, you want to record it once and you want to play it many times. Okay, many times by changing its parameters. Okay, changing its values, changing its changing its all variables. Okay, so that's called parameterization. They want to change some constant value. There is a constant value for this. Okay, and you're changing it because you want to. Let's see here. Let's say this is a value, right? This is a constant value, 10. You cannot change 10. But you can change 10. Okay, when you're running the script, you're running script for 10. So that cannot change. So that's what I mean. But once you ran the script, if you want for 100 quantity, you're not going to record for 100 quantity, right? That doesn't make sense. You just want to change the 10. Okay, that's what it is. And let's say if you want the whole data to be changed, for example, here, there are not so many addresses you want to validate, so many cities, so many states. Okay, we did for only once. Okay, but there are so many states, so many other data. In that case, you want to remove this value. This is a value, and remove and put some variable, and say that QTP to why don't you look it in global sheet and run the script. Okay, let's see here how we do this. Okay, so this is the value. It's showing the flight from from London to Paris. Okay, so you're trying to you can do this by right click, or you have this option in menu bar. Remember the menu bar? You can use that option there. It will be that that parameterization will be the option. So if you right click here and this is a constant says London, but you are changing it to parameter, and what you are telling this QTP. Okay, let me show you here. So you're changing this to parameter. Okay, you see this. This is a parameter, and you're telling the QTP, why don't you look in data table? Okay, this parameter, you have this option here, more options. You can look in the data table, global sheet or local sheet, whatever the option available, you can see that. And what name you want to give that constant value? Since the constant is London, you see this London, but what you are trying to give here is some name, P underscore item, whatever the name you are to give. Okay, so and you are telling QTP where it is located. Is it in global sheet or current action? So it's in global sheet, and we click OK. So that's how you can do this parameterization. Okay, so once you do that, so here, okay, so let's, it should be good. Okay, so here, once you have done that, okay, now you're putting all the values for that parameter here. Okay, this is the values for your parameter. So you're putting for two, changing for two constants here. One is from and the other is to. Okay, and you're telling QTP, so why don't you look here this global sheet and run the script? So once what it happens, right? It runs in various iterations. Okay, now it runs various iterations. That means first it runs for London to Paris and see if there is any issue. And then it runs from Paris to Denver. Is it Denver? Okay, so it runs to that, and then it runs from Denver to Paris, and thus Paris to Denver. So it runs in 4 iterations, and not 4. I mean, how many values you give, it runs in that many. So this is okay. This is how you assign the parameterization. Okay, once you run this is the script. Okay, this is the result. Okay, this is the result which gets stored at particular location. Okay, and this contains all the information about how much, which object has been failed, which particular objects, which the child object, which is the parent object. All this information is stored in this, and how much has passed, and how much it fails, and how many times. Okay, so and how many are warnings. Okay, it shows all this information in this. Okay, so this is to parameterize. So then. Okay, so we'll talk about this action. So action. So action is of 2 types. One is regular, that is non-reusable. That's once used, it's done. We cannot use it, so that's called regular. And reusable, sometimes you want to create a library file. Let's say you created some function and you dump it to that particular library, and you want to reuse it every time you run the script. Now that's called reusable. Okay, and the last and the another is reusable, contains 2, locally and externally. Locally in sense in your system, or local. Externally in sense which is network, or all over the network, or that's called external. So these are the types of actions. So this is how new action. You remember we talked about this. So these 2, one is action and the other is split action. Okay, you can, or if you this is for shortcut. You can see all this you can find in menu bar. This menu bar file tool. If you are not able to find here this shortcuts, you are always able to find here. That's in menu bar. Okay. Let's go to the next. So here you see here, they find it in menu bar. You see this? So everything, whatever you are trying to do, will be in menu bar. If you are not able to find it in shortcut, that's fine. It may not be added, or you can add it by yourself manually. But in menu bar, all these options will be available. Okay, so these are the various types of actions. Okay, you want to call it. So let's go to very quick with different recovery scenario. So let's talk about this recovery scenario. Okay, so in recovery scenarios, right, there's 3 types: trigger event, recovery option, and post recovery option. So let's take an example. Why do we really need this recovery scenarios? Okay, so let's say you're running a script. The script is 40 hours. It takes 40 hours to run the script. Okay, not just 1 or 2 hours. 1 or 2 hours is done now. It takes 40 hours, and you need to continuously run it. So you cannot just wait for 40 hours, right? You just run that script and you forget it. You do other work. You cannot just wait for 40 hours just like that. Okay, you just put it and run it some server and forget about it. So what happens, right? Now let's say there was some server issue or something, and we know that was then not from application point of view, but it's some server issue, and it shows suddenly some pop-up window shows up at 29th hour, right? At 29th or 39th hour it shows up. Now what happens? QTP fails the script. It says no, this pop-up window, this was never recorded. Now that's really not the case. Okay, it's a server issue. We know it. That was an issue, known issue. We don't want to record it as something which cannot be recorded. So what you're trying to say in the QTP is to, if you come across such scenarios, ignore the issue and continue with the remaining script. So that's what you're trying to say in the recovery scenarios. Okay, that's what is an example for trigger event. Let's see here. So here, let's say if you are taking a pop-up window, then suddenly some pop-up window shows up which was not recorded, and it doesn't have any script in this. Okay, in QTP. So we thought like that is a bug and it's failed issue, but really we are telling it, if any pop-up window shows up, what do you want to do with that? Okay, you want to continue with the other script. Ignore that pop-up window and continue with the other script. So that's what you're trying to say in this recovery scenario. It's not just in a pop-up window, you have an option here, object state, test run error, application crash. So what you're trying to say here is if you run across any of this kind of scenarios, you can continue with our other work. You don't have to stop, you have to continue and don't worry about all the scenarios. Okay, you have to assign one after the other if you want to do this recovery scenario. Okay. Now let's go to the next topic. Creating tests without object repositories. See, so far we talk about object repository, right? Whatever record and playback is, you need to have this object repository compulsory. Without object repository, you cannot do in record and playback. But really, it's not worth it because most of the applications are dynamic applications. They keep changing, the objects keep changing. So what you want to do is there's something called descriptive programming. So here you are no more bothered about object repository. Okay, so why? Because whatever so what does the object repository do? It stores the properties and values in the repository. But here you're already giving in the code itself. You know what? You're already giving in the code. So you really don't require this object repository. So in that case, you call this as descriptive programming. Okay, let's see here. If we could go through one of the program here. So let's see here. This is a code. Okay, if you want to write yourself this code, let's see. Let's get a Firefox. Okay, now this code. This is simple code for a small pop-up window. Okay, this is code for small pop-up window. Now let's see here. Let's go back to our demo. So we have a pop-up window here, right? Let's see. Oops. Okay, so if I click this button and let's say you want to place an order. Let's say this is a pop-up window, right? Now let's see how can we write this in the code. So window, so of course this is a window, right? Now this pop-up window is also called as window. Okay, so there are many names: pop-up, window, dialog. Okay, it's based on whatever how it's used. So here we are calling it as window. And the error, so the error is actually there's supposed to be this kind of heading there, right? Error, but we are not showing that error. So that's actually the error. And win button. So if you're trying win button, that means they're talking about this. This is win button. Okay. Why win? So this is the button. Win means it's in Windows application, so that's why it's called win button. Okay. And text. Okay. Okay. This is the text is okay. So what is the text? Text is the property. The value is okay. Okay. And width. Okay. Good. You are giving this width. How much the width of this button is, so that PTP recognizes immediately. And dot click. Okay. It's like dot click, dot select. Okay. Dot set. No, these are the, if you're using radio buttons, then it's called dot set. If you're using this normal button, then it's called dot click. If you are using a drop down box, then you're using dot select. So these are few code which is already there. Okay, so your click, dot click. So once you run that code, that means QTP will click this OK button. Okay, and then okay, so that's how you can enter this. So that's what it is. Okay, so you are already this is, so you see in this bracket, small bracket, you're putting all property and values inside the bracket and saying UTP dot click. Okay, so okay, so you don't need any more object repository, and you are just putting all those in the code itself. Okay, the similar way you can create for all these fields. Okay, all these fields. Instead of so you have to start from scratch, like opening the browser, from browser opening it, navigate, click on this button. Okay, So click on enter GM online button. You have to give property and values for this, at least to recognize unique property values, so that you put that click. Then go to the next code, next line of code, and enter the 3% built in and put 10. Okay. So all this you have to enter on this and say dot click. So that's how you can go into descriptive programming. Any questions so far? So all this, if you want to refer this document, all this is there in the Google Drive. So everyone, I hope everyone has access to Google Drive, right? If you want this document, okay, if you want to refer this document, if you want to look into this document, you can go to this Google Drive. And click here. And if you see this, 26 directory, so you'll be having all this documents, whatever trying to put this, all these documents are here. So that will be QTP1. Okay, so all these documents are already there, so you can just refer it. Okay, if you want to look. And one more thing, right? If you want, so one tutorial, if you want to go to the tutorial, this one tutorial. Okay, good. So there's one tutorial here. You can go ahead and see QTP tutorials, and you have all these options. Okay, so you can go through one after the other. They're like 82. Okay, when I was there, it was just 40 tutorials. Now it has doubled. Okay, so it's been back in 2008, 2009. Okay, so in that time it was like 40 tutorials. Now it has become to 82. Okay, so these tutorials keep on increasing. Okay, or if you want some, want to test some application, you have some information here. You can go through it, and you can work on that. And this is there in the syllabus, that information. So any questions so far? So Monday will be our last class. So we'll talk about this certification, okay, and we'll see, to get some more information on DFS, Team Foundation Server, and see how can we, work on that one. So that is more used in Kanban status, and we'll see a little bit, on that on Monday. Okay, if no questions, can we close this class for today? If you have any questions, you can email me. Okay, I'll we can schedule a time and then I can explain you much more better. Okay. Okay. Thank you, guys.